Okay, today's lesson is on inverse variation. So we've already learned direct variation, which is y equals kx. So what we need to do now is talk about inverse variation. In a direct variation, as x increases, y increases. An example of this would be like earning money by the hour. So the more hours you work, the more money you get. An inverse variation, as y increases, x decreases. An example of this would be gas in your car. The more miles you drive, the less gas in the tank until you go fill it up again. So y equals kx is direct variation, and y equals k over x divided by x is indirect variation or inverse variation. And by the way, those are interchangeable. So you can think of it as y equals k divided by x, or often people say xy equals k. So you can see how you can get this if you multiply both sides by x. So in some ways, inverse variation is easier because if you multiply your x and your y, you're always going to end up with your k, your constant. So let's look at some examples. Y varies inversely as x if there's some non-zero constant such as k that xy equals k or y equals k divided by x. So these are your two formulas that need to be memorized. Just like direct variation, they need to be memorized. Just like when we did the direct variation problems, you will get two answers. One will be an equation relating x and y, and then the variable that you're solving for. And you'll use either xy equals k or y equals k divided by x. So let's do some problems. If y varies inversely with x and y is equal to 4 when x equals 8, find y when x equals 2. So I think the easiest one to use is xy equals k first. They gave us a y, they gave us an x. Let's multiply them and find k. So k is equal to 32. So if they ask you to write that in an equation, then y is equal to 32 divided by x. Now we're going to solve when x is equal to 2, this part. So solving it, so we have 32 divided by 2, and it's equal to 16. So y is equal to 16. Again, it's important that you distinguish between the two variations. Direct variation, y equals kx. Inverse variation is xy equals k or y equals k divided by x. Whichever you prefer to learn, you can change from one to the other because you know how to use an equation. So now let's look at another problem. If y varies inversely as x and y is equal to 4 when x is equal to negative 8, find the constant k. xy equals k, negative 8 times 4 is equal to negative 32, so k is equal to negative 32. So sometimes they'll ask you to find the constant, and other times they'll ask you to write an equation relating, an inverse variation equation relating x and y. In this case, it would be y is equal to negative 32 over x. So find y when x equals negative 4. Again, you do the exact same thing. You take your constant, you divide it by negative 4, and you get y equals 8. So try these and bring them to class. All right?